8:30. I'd like to call the Tuesday, June 21, Planning and Policy Committee meeting to order. First on our agenda this morning would be public comment. We ask that you state your name and address and limit your time to 3 minutes, please. Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent items. The motion this morning will be to approve today's agenda and to approve the minutes from the May 17th.
So moved.
Or we have a motion and support. Any discussion on the consent items? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next action items is the Idaho Explorers Trail Bass River Connector, and the motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the easement with the Ottawa County Road Commission for the Idaho Explorers Trail Bass River segment route at the purchase price of $5,000. We have a motion and support, and Jason will bring us up to speed.
Yes. So we have been working on this easement in particular with the Road Commission for probably the better part of 2 years now. So it'll be a 30-foot wide easement, and it'll connect Bass River to Riverside Park. This is, I think some folks have heard, the Road Commission has sold some of the parcels along there at the end of North Cedar. This one we are securing the easement prior to them selling this parcel, and will allow us to finalize some of the alignment there on the western part of Bass River. So we're excited to have this done and move it forward.
So this is the property that we were under discussion about it being sold as to do and so.
Yes, and they had an offer on 2 of the parcels, and including this one, that the purchaser was okay with this easement for the trail. So we've been able to work with the Road Commission, and then we actually met the prospective buyer on site and talked about the trail and the alignment. And so this is what we have today.
Were we looking to purchase this property at one time?
Yes.
Okay, and now
we weren't able to reach an agreement with the Road Commission on a price.
Yep.
And then when we offered a second offer, if you will, for the property, at that point, they had found this prospective buyer.
okay,
That I believe that price was higher than what we were willing to offer. So that's why we went back to the original easement.
in some ways, this is a win-win because it saved us a lot of money.
Yeah, we were willing to offer obviously quite a bit more to purchase the lot.
Yeah.
And I confirmed with Jason, all we need is an easement in order to run this trail through. So it will meet our needs, and obviously we'd be spending far less than if we purchased the property.
Okay, now I got another little question because I got to go back in history. And Phil is the only one that probably can help. When did the Road Commission purchase this property?
So Riverside was originally one of the first parks that came to the Parks Commission from the Road Commission. So then subsequently, several years later, another parcel was added to that from the Road Commission, and those were donated or given to the Parks Commission. So part of the conversation has been the long-standing discussion has been when the Road Commission was finished with the use of that property or mining any gravel out of it, it would come to the Parks Commission at no cost. So it took a while to work through that because that had changed.
Thank you.
John, and I know the answer to this question. 90% of the costs I get from residents are about road conditions. Seeing that it's the Ottawa County Road Commission and we're Ottawa County, so they obviously own their own property. We're not the umbrella over that property though, are we? I mean, okay.
We appoint the board members, but it's a separate entity.
How much property do they actually own?
I don't know.
You know,
I don't know.
that seems unusual that they would own property.
Well, most of our land was good gravel,
Yeah.
so it was good property to own for
Yeah.
construction of roads.
Oh, I see, okay.
So they have
That's why.
several sites right now that are adjacent to Parks property that they're working on mining for gravel.
Oh, okay.
So they have one in the Bend area, and then they have one in Upper Mac natural area.
Little township.
Yeah.
So that's why they own it.
Right.
Yeah.
For their own.
I don't know how much though.
Jason, the one with Sealand Township, are you, nothing's been signed or certified or anything like that? The road commission owns it. They're taking the gravel out. I understand that. That's their property. But after they're done doing that, was there any agreement?
Well, so that one in particular was included in the master plan. They allowed us to include it in the master plan for Upper Mac.
Okay.
So I don't think the mining permit's been finalized there, if I'm
They're
correct.
hauling stuff out right now.
Well, so maybe it has.
Yeah.
So I'll need to follow up with them. The last conversation their managing director and I had was that we would sit down and look at the map of that property and identify any areas that the Parks Commission would want them to leave whole so we could develop park infrastructure there. So.
I heard that. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Jason, I should know better, but I gotta ask this question. Yeah, if it's in the closing process of this property, who's getting the $5,000? The buyer or the road commission?
The road commission.
Okay.
And we had originally had an appraisal, the first appraisal that we had done identified the value of that easement at $5,000. So.
Thank you.
So when they sell the property, they will sell it with the easement on it.
Correct.
Correct.
And the easement runs with the land, so no matter who owns that property.
That's right,
the
exactly.
easement stays there. So,
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? Rachel,
one
can you
more
help-
question.
Rachel, can you help me just, I'm sorry.
So my understanding, Jason, with the road commission, because I've had a few calls about how far can I do my driveway and so forth, and I believe that the understanding is that 30 feet from the center or 15 feet from the center belongs to the road commission, right?
Well, probably each roadway has a different defined easement.
So
right
that's
away.
already identified as an easement. Why are we buying something that's already an easement?
This is in the back of the property.
Oh, is
So
it in the
to-
back of the property?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
I remember now. Thank you.
And it's, if you have ever been there, it's at the dead end of North Cedar and you look out over the lake. So we're trying to connect at the bottom of that slope hill closer to the lake. So.
Okay, thanks.
We need a voice vote, or can we, or do we have to do roll call for this?
I don't believe a roll call until it goes to full board.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. So if we have a motion then in support, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose the same sign, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next discussion items and the potential county sponsorship policy.
This was, I got contacted by the board chair and I think Frank as well, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. That one of our departments was listed as a sponsor at a certain event for $1,000. And the question was, hey, is that illegal to do? And so I followed up and our health department had sponsored, or I should say, had set up a table to provide information, I think, on certain health-related matters. And in order to do that, had to pay for a table at this event.
Yep.
Because really, I mean, in terms of just sponsoring events and giving someone cash is not a authorized expenditure of county funds. But it led us to take a look and say, do we sponsor anything else? And so I contacted the departments and just asked, hey, do you sponsor, and using that term, I guess, loosely. And most departments do not. You know, for example, though, district court, there's a Sheila Day Counseling. They provide group counseling for the sobriety treatment program. And that's funded by grants as well as participants. The other, for example, Paul Sachs had mentioned they don't sponsor organizations. They provide in-kind services to support grant requirements as necessary, such as the Michigan Works Agribusiness Talent Organization. And the court, circuit court and FOC helped fundraise for the Caddyshack 5K event from 2015 to 2019. And so you get things like that. CMH, they don't provide money to people. They do provide dues to the Community Mental Health Association of Michigan, and they provide in-kind staff support to several events, including Walk a Mile in My Shoes and Recovery Fest. So those are kind of the things in terms of sponsors. So just the concern was, hey, are there any things out there that, oh my God, why are we spending money on? I'm not seeing any
Return.
yeah, any, I guess, alarm bells in terms of anything where we're just sending money to say, hey, we love that event, here's some money. We don't do that. But we don't have a countywide policy that addresses that. And I don't know, Frank, if that's where you were.
Yes,
going
and that's
with
where I was headed, John. You know, when I was superintendent, I always told my principals, you run the buildings, but I don't want any surprises coming. I mean, I don't want to read it in the paper that, by the way, this happened at one of my buildings and I wasn't aware of it. And I know it's kind of hard to control what all the other departments are doing, you know, because you've got the clerk's office, you've got the treasurer's office and so forth. So my question was more, is there a policy on you as the administrator of the whole county being aware of what is being sponsored and when it's being sponsored, so that not only are you not surprised by an event, we're also not surprised as board members. So I don't even know if it's possible, seeing that you've got elected officials in other departments who are running their own departments.
Right.
But I do know that you meet with all of the folks every week or something like that. So my question was more, is there a policy? Should there be a policy? So that at least you know what's coming down the pike and that you can share that information with us if you see that this might be of interest to us.
Yeah, and currently there is not a policy that says, you know, thou shalt bring any sponsorship request to the administrator's office or to the Board of Commissioners. I don't think it hurts to have that information ahead of time, just in case there is something, because when the concern was first expressed, I was thinking to myself, wow, we can't be just handing out money, which ended up not being the case.
Right.
So I haven't seen anything that was either illegal or improper. But down the road, I don't have a problem with just saying, hey, let us know, you know, if you're going to have a new, and I'm using that term loosely, sponsorship, let us know what that is, so we can just make sure it's legal and appropriate. But we don't currently have that now.
Because Friends of the Parks do that, don't they, Jason, quite a bit, different events that we do,
Yeah.
tables and stuff like that.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it was just, again, there was an event where we were listed as a sponsor for, I think it was for $1,000 or something. And I'm like, wait, we can't be just sending $1,000.
There's a difference, yeah.
Yeah, so it was cleared up once we looked into it. It was cleared up, but it created an impression that we were just handing $1,000 to an organization, and that would not be, you know, for nothing in return. That would not be. So.
Anyone else?
Next will be the legislative issues, the current legislative priorities, John.
You'll see there's not, it looks like the secondary road patrol items are proceeding through, and we think that those will pass the Senate. We're not seeing, and I confirmed this with Bob DeVries, we're not seeing a lot of activities. Is basically all the activity going on right now is budget related. So in terms of the bills on our legislative priority list, there's been very little activity other than the secondary road patrol funding did pass out of the Senate Committee on Appropriations 18-1. That did pass the House 101-1. So we're pretty confident that that bill will pass. All the other bills, there have really been no activity at all. Lansing's is, you know, working on budget right now. So that's where we are with that. So that's why you don't see too much difference here from the previous month.
Do they go in recess in a little while?
Yeah, they'll have a 4th of July recess. There's not I know they want to get this budget done. They used to want to get it done before the end of June. I don't see that happening. I mean, so they technically have till the end of September.
Okay, because really they go home for reelection in
Mhm.
August, so
Mhm.
this might not happen until September.
Or at least after
Yeah,
the first week of August.
yeah, that's right. Okay.
Actually, it might not happen for a while, because with Jim Lilly, even I believe that only gives one side a one
Yeah.
vote majority, so it might be a pretty balanced or
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah, I think he
hard-fought.
leaves July 1st, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. I sometimes read so much and then I forget to read. Did Mary Whiteford's bill pass? Okay, it did not.
But there was a bill that passed, but it wasn't related to.
Oh,
the,
is
the
that-
private?
There was a bill that provided extra 565 million in appropriations for mental health, but it was tie barred to Senator Shirkey's bills. So you had to pass Shirkey's
Okay.
bills to get this extra money.
Okay, so,
And Roger Victory was trying to get a gas tax holiday.
yeah,
Is that going anyplace?
It's unclear where the governor is on that at the moment.
I see, okay.
And, some of the concern is, and I've heard this at President Biden is looking at maybe doing a federal gas
Yeah,
tax
that
holiday. I
was-
think it's
yeah.
18.4
Yeah.
cents,
Yeah, yeah.
18 cents, but
Yeah.
again, that also funds all of your federal
Roads.
highway
Yeah.
aid projects too.
But-
So there
yes,
is-
it does. And they're talking millions per day
Yeah,
of income coming
Yeah.
in. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go.
yeah.
So,
And how does that affect the average person?
that's right.
18 cents, a 20 gallon gas tank, $3.60. I mean, people are spending more of that at the Starbucks. I
Yeah,
mean,
thank you.
how's
That's
that gonna
right.
make an impact on people's lives?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the impact it has on being able to provide road funding. Because a lot of the projects you see do get federal highway aid funding from the federal government.
We finally have the infrastructure bills that are starting to work, and now we're gonna pull the rug out, and then our roads are gonna deteriorate again.
And I think
Move it
from
all
the
back.
state level, they're trying to use some of the state ARPA funds to
Yep.
backfill what they
Yeah.
lose
Yeah.
in
Yep.
gas tax.
Yeah,
Revenue.
it's all about perception and politics, right? That's what it's about. So
Yeah.
it's not about how much money it is. It's
No.
because it's
So there
not.
may be more activity after August on especially the budget and maybe
Yeah.
some of these other bills.
Hey, John, while we're talking about gas, I know at Friday's Regional Planning Commission meeting that there was discussion about using ARPA dollars to help with the fuel costs, especially like for the road commission. So did the road commission also receive some ARPA dollars or not?
I thought they did. I think they did.
I think they did.
I just don't know how much.
Okay. Are we setting some funds aside for our gas use of our vehicles, the sheriff's department and so forth from the ARPA dollars?
We have not allocated ARPA dollars for that. Right now, with respect to ARPA, and this will be at the Finance Committee meeting right after this, we're asking the board to approve contracts with the bucket managers, and then 90 days after that, they'll be submitting projects. We're also going to be sending out application forms to the county departments as well, so that they can submit requests for ARPA funding. So if we get a request for that, we'll evaluate it. Just based on some of the criteria that the board approved for using ARPA funds, using that to help pay for gas was probably would not really fit many of the evaluation criteria, frankly, that you guys approved, and being kind of a transformational project, something that is a one-time expenditure that won't have an ongoing, operational effect, and simply covering higher gas prices. My bet would be based on the criteria that you approve would probably not fall very highly up on the priority list.
Right.
For something
Yeah, because I
like that.
thought I read somewhere that some county, and I hope it was in our county, that said that they were cutting back as to what calls they made or followed up on.
Mecosta County
Yes.
ran out of their fuel budget.
Yeah, no, that was not, well, it was not Ottawa County.
Okay,
We're still responding to calls. We just filled up I think 3 of our marine boats, which was pretty expensive because marine fuel is even more costly than regular fuel. But we're still responding to any call. In fact, that was just discussed at a meeting yesterday at the elected officials meeting. The sheriff said we are responding to every call that we've been responding to. So we didn't take the position of Mecosta County to say, hey, it's a little expensive. We're not going to go out there.
John or Karen, where is the county on their fuel budget right now? I mean,
I don't know exactly where that is, but we are monitoring it with the sheriff's office. And every year we put aside a contingency because we never know where the costs are going to come in. I mean, gas prices have gone up before and then so we have responded to that. So we work with them and we would try to fund it from the contingency that we set aside first. So, and when we budget usually somewhere about $500,000 in contingency. And so the idea is that any of those ebbs and flows, we would try to manage within the amount that's appropriated by the board before we came back and asked for other resources.
So the bottom line is Karen has that under control.
yeah, I understand that. I'm just wondering how close, before, because
We are,
$5 a
we're
gallon.
monitoring that, and also overtime is another
Big thing.
area that we're looking at pretty closely, but
okay, now the parks, they also use up fuel,
yes.
and you're watching that one too, right?
Well, right, Parks is a different funding source. But
Right, but it's
We
still
wish-
there, they still got trucks on the road
yes,
or pickups.
they might
tires.
have other things available to them to soften, the expense.
Okay.
They might be able to make adjustments in how they process things whereas the sheriff's office, that's really not an option to just quit responding.
Yeah, so the sheriff's office is operating as normal despite the high gas prices.
Anything else?
One thing doing to the legislative, I forwarded John just a couple minutes ago, Derek from MAC board, we talked about it at the MAC board meeting on Friday morning, the revenue sharing. There's a bunch of talking points they sent us, so John will probably share them with all the commissioners. Pretty good talking points that they made up. Tina talked a lot about it. I'm pretty interested where we're at. I sat next to Roger Victor yesterday at the chamber where they introduced the people running for office, and he said that we'll be on there and we'll be in the budget when they get to it. So hopefully we can count on that. So, but them are good talking points, pretty interesting information that you guys can see there.
I can forward that to the rest of the board.
Yeah, that'd be great, John. Thanks.
Anything else in regard to legislative updates? Okay. Moving on, then, this was our second opportunity for public comment. Again, please state your name, address, and limit your time to 3 minutes, please. Seeing none, we'll move on. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Or all those in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Hold the same sign. Thank you very much.